Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Everything Seaplace. There's a lot of stuff, if I can use a technical term, a lot of stuff going on around here. I'll be back. Let me share what we're up to. Hi everyone, my name is Mike Rennick. I am your host for this video. It's time to talk about what we're doing here at Seaplace. It's been a few weeks. I apologize. My schedule's been kind of not overwhelming, but it's been full. So we're back. I want to get this video. My guest today is Mr. Kirk Baker. Kurt, welcome.
Thanks, Mike.
Kurt is the not only the infamous chairman of the building committee, he's the infamous author of the work that led to $1 million savings with insurance. We'll do a video down the road where we're going to ask him how he's going to top that in the next 24 months. So not sure if we can do that, but there's a lot of stuff going on. You know, we know our owners, this is a second home market here. Our owners are back up north, so we wanted to share what we're looking at. And there's a lot of things. So what I want to do is just go through a list. Kurt will share a little bit from a high level of where we're at. We probably will come back through subsequent weeks this summer and we'll do a video on each one of these, or the ones that make sense. So a lot of work going on. Let's begin with insurance. And we're going to film a video next week with our insurance broker, Mike Engers, in terms of where he's at with all the companies that are going out to get quotes and stuff like that. So just nothing really to share right now other than the insurance work is ongoing, and we'll be back with more information. There's work needed for our elevators, and at this point I'm going to turn that over to Kurt in terms of what we're doing with our elevators.
You might recall we entered into a new contract with TKE ThyssenKrupp Elevator to take over our elevator service, and in the contract we required that after 4 weeks they give us a report on work that needs to be done for each elevator with the goal of getting 100% reliability. So they've done that. We had a meeting last week. They rolled it out to us. We asked they give it, present it building by building, which is what we need for the budget. So we'll expect that next week. So we're going to get a list of recommendations to do immediately, and then in the near term and the long term. Again, the goal is to get 100% reliability from each elevator.
I think everyone would agree the performance of our current elevators has been abysmal at best, and we've got to fix that, and those are the steps going on right now. So we'll have more updates on that, but Kurt and his team is being very proactive, along with Alan Zuckerman. Alan's not part of this right now because he's traveling. But so good news story, we're going to get our arms around this and we will have the elevators taken care of, correct?
Yes.
Looking forward to that. There's a project that I like to tease that it's gone under the radar. Not many people have heard about it, but that's absolutely not true. It's the effort going on for the owners' lanai doors and windows in terms of hardening everything for insurance standards and maybe state statutes coming down the road or whatever. But I don't have the latest numbers, but I see a lot of progress. There's a crane right here. We're in the clubhouse right behind them too. A lot of work going on right now.
Yeah, a lot of owners are having their windows and sliding glass doors replaced, or hurricane shutters installed, and we see a lot of activity around the property with lifts and trucks in the parking lot for Mullets and other Clearview and other companies doing the work. So I think, I haven't heard the latest count, but I think we're well over 50% of all units have hardened their windows and sliding glass doors.
And the reason this is important, and we're going to have to put out a memo, the board did agree to make this mandatory, effective June 1st of 2026. They need to be complete, and the contracts need to be placed with the contractors on or before January 1st of 2026, correct? Do I have those dates right?
Yes.
Okay, so more to follow on that, but we'll publish a paper that indicates what we have to do, but a lot of good work going on. The reason this is so important, that if even just 95% of the owners do this, the 5% that didn't get done creates problems, not from just an insurance ability point of view, but if we actually have a hurricane that's a direct hit or a significant close by hit, it will cause significant damages to even the units that were done. It comes in the windows that aren't protected, and then it can go through drywall and stuff like that. So that's one of the challenges of living in common housing like we have here in a condominium association. So more to follow on that. In addition, we're asking the owners to do all this, but we have work to do here at Seaplace, and we call it the Common Window and Door and Louver Project. These are for the common areas, you know, elevators, different floors, storage rooms, stuff like that. So, Kurt, what are we starting to do with that?
We have a line item in this year's budget to do what I call the front-end engineering. So we'll do a survey of the property and come up with a complete inventory of all the common area glass windows, entry doors, utility room doors, stairwell doors, and so on, and you know, get an expert, either engineer or architect, to tell us which ones need to be hardened and according to the code, how they would treat it, and then give us like a project package to proceed with getting that work done, defining what the code criteria are and materials and so on, and we'll treat that like a project.
Now for the standalone windows, I believe, my understanding is Wendy is actually out for quotes right now, so we can start that. The doors and louvers for the common areas will need some engineering work.
Right.
The windows, it's replace a window and frame with another window and frame that's hurricane protected, correct? Or standard?
Right. So these are windows with glass glazing, right? So we're breaking it down to treat those, because those are pretty much kind of an off-the-rack approach. It's very well established. The Florida product approvals are done. You know, individual unit owners, like we just mentioned, are having that done all the time. So that's pretty streamlined one to start with.
So let's move on to the next project. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The SIS process, the Structural Integrity Reserve process. Bottom line, what it means is full funding. A year from now, our new budget process, when we start it in the winter, will require full funding at Seaplace for the first time. We have to project out, you know, swimming pools, how many years, and then each year we have to save money. The next roof project, how many years, and each year, you know, elevators, all that. What it means is it will change the cash flow for owners. The quarterly fees will go up because we're saving ahead of time instead of waiting until a few months before on special assessing. So right now, there's a process where we've got to get it bought off. There's been a lot of work. Kurt and Ellen have led that charge. Our new treasurer, Ray's been involved. Wendy's been heavily involved. But we've got to take it through the process and get it approved by the building committee, in my mind, the finance committee, get it all the I's dotted, T's crossed, and ultimately come to the board of directors, because this will change the quarterly fees. Is that a fairly good assessment?
Yeah, it's going to change. So last year, Wendy and the Cairns engineer did a lot of work for several months, building the Structural Integrity Reserve study. They made an Excel tool, which is going to be really handy, and as we go on, being able to update each item on the SIRS as work is done or we learn new things. We can keep it a living document, so to speak. So it's going to be very helpful for the building committee and the finance committee moving forward, making sure we're fine-tuning this budget.
In overall, you know, replacing a swimming pool in X number of years is going to cost whatever. This just changes the cash flow from the owners, because we have to have the money in the savings bank, is the way I look at it. In other words, you can no longer go out and finance a new car. You have to save for it, and when you make that purchase, you have to be ready to be able to pay cash. So more to follow on that. Our goal is to have a couple of town halls to explain the numbers as they solidify a little bit more. But I can promise you one thing, a lot of work has gone into this, because it's important to get the numbers right, and so that we're not taking money from owners that we shouldn't be taking. But also the other side says we're compliant with Florida statute, and there's a strong line that we got to make sure we stay on the right side of, and we will do that. So more to follow with that. Some other projects maybe a little bit higher level. Kurt, you're working on a generator project. Our generator is 50 years old. Is that true? Is that the original generator?
I think so. We have two generators. There's one inside M1, and then there's one near the entrance, the main entrance, in what they call the housekeeping building. So these provide backup power to lighting and elevators in the event of a power outage, and both are at the point where they need to be replaced. So Wendy and I met with Cairns Engineering the other day just to solicit their help on managing the project. There's some at least in M1, there's some work that needs to be done to disassemble a wall so we can rig the old generator out and put the new one in. So it's a little more complex than just swapping out an equipment item. So more to follow on that.
In addition, on top of those, we are working on for, I think it's G1, 2, and 3. It's definitely just the garden buildings, but we're looking at a railing replacement project, correct?
Correct.
And so that's coming at us, and that I believe we should be ready to go out for bids relatively soon. I think I saw the package back from the architect in the last week or two, and so we've just got to make sure the I's are dotted and T's are crossed and go out and look at what that's going to do for
Right,
us.
I think, yeah, we have everything we need now. We can go out for bid, different companies to get bids on getting that work done.
And one of the things I can promise you right now, none of this is work to do just to keep us busy. This is all essential work. One, either to maintain current safety standards, or two, to remain proactive ahead of time before we need to do something at a last moment kind of stuff. So the board is very focused on making sure that the expenditures we're asking for are appropriate and are necessary. So more to follow on that. I've gotten some calls from owners on that. I respect the concerns that they've shared. Unfortunately, there's not another alternative. You can't just let certain things go, especially like railings. That'll be a safety issue. Those have to be fixed, and they have to be fixed ahead of time. And not fixed, but replaced. We're looking at, when he's got some work on carports, we need some roofs on that. That's going on, will be going on. E-voting, that kind of got stalled. We've asked Vinny to take that over. It wasn't part of his scope, he's agreed to. We may need to pick another supplier for that, so more to follow on that. One of the big things, so in my personal opinion, with my work coming back on the board about 15 months ago or whatever, I see too much work in terms of what we're asking the office to produce. You know, as a property gets older, there's a lot more demands. There's more Florida statutes now than there used to be. So that's driving a lot of work. So one of the big things we thought, what chunk of work can we take away from the office and actually put us in better shape? And we determined that's bookkeeping services. So instead of being single-threaded with either Wendy and or Hannah doing that kind of stuff, we're looking at outsourcing the services and freeing up more time for Wendy and Hannah to work on some of these other big things that we need focus on. So we had a meeting with 2 suppliers yesterday. I personally walked away impressed. Don't think we're at the finish line yet. We've got more work to do, but stay tuned. A lot of cycles are going into that because, one, it's going to benefit the owners in terms of we won't be single-threaded, and two, it'll benefit the owners because Wendy and Hannah will have more time to focus on some other things. One of the things, you know, Kurt is famous now for helping us take all that money out of insurance, but Kurt isn't done yet. We still have some garden buildings that are not rated at the highest efficiency because of the tile roof sections, and below the tile roof sections are living quarters. So Kurt has on his project to take a look at that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's another project we have on the budget for this year. It's to, again, do the front engineering to look at these tile roof sections, especially those that cover living space, to see what can be done to get those to the best hurricane rating, which will, one, protect our property, and two, should see a benefit on insurance when we have those replaced. So that's an item that's in the SIRS. There's about 4 years remaining life given to all the tile roof sections. Some of them just sit atop the concrete roof slab, so they're just an aesthetic feature. They don't really provide any coverage to the building, as that's the concrete roof slab does that. But some of the garden buildings, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, have the slope tile directly over living space, which it's a less resistant roof system should we get a hurricane. So we're looking at what we can do to do the best possible replacement for those.
And this is just some of the things that are going on right now. These are more the high-level projects. I wanted to come in and share these. Kurt graciously agreed to help me do that. But this summer, when you're back home and enjoying the hopefully cooler weather than what we're having here in Florida, just rest assured, we're busy. We're focused on doing the right things. We have to maintain a standard here at Seaplace. We all purchase here for a reason, and we need to make sure those reasons stay valid going forward. But there's a lot of stuff going on. Your board is hard at work. I'm very fortunate to sit with my peers on this board in terms of the activity going on and their level of commitment to Seaplace owners. So more to follow. We'll come back in future weeks. We'll talk about some of these and we'll do a deep dive and bring you up to date with that. But if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. Again, probably most of you know me. My name is Mike Rennick. My personal and my direct cell is 941-400-8735. Kurt, thank you. Appreciate it. It's
Thanks,
amazing
Mike.
to work with you. It's a full-time job for you to keep me in line, but you do a really good job, so I appreciate that. But I want to thank you for watching. Until next time, feel free to give me a call if you need anything.